Right, you can now begin your dive starts. If you could use lanes 1, 2, 7 and 8 for dive starts. And start when the lane is clear, please. The competitors in the women's open 200 metres individual medley will now start making their way to the marshalling area, please. The warm-up has 30 seconds remaining. Okay, warm-up is now closed. Warm-up is now complete. Thank you for your cooperation during that warm-up period. The pool is now closed.
Well then, good morning everyone in and around Norwich and of course on our live stream for session 15 of the Swim England East Region Long Course Championships 2023. Just before we do get off and underway, well, we'll be starting with our women's 200 metre individual medleys. Let's introduce out our referees and starters. Your technical director for this session from Modernian, Joan Wheeler. And your referees from West Norfolk, Stuart Murray. And from Hertford, Jane O'Brien. And your starter for this session from the city of Ely, Bastian Nutboom. We'll be getting underway in around 30 seconds time, so don't go anywhere. This is the women's 200 metre individual medley, heat number 1. Well, then we're off and underway in the final day of these long course championships. I hope you've all had a pleasurable night's sleep and ready to go again on this bank holiday Monday. Well, in lane 3, 4 and 5 then in this opening heat we have Ida Corcoran, the 14-year-old from Flitwick, or should I say Flitwick. I will get that right by the end of the day. In lane 4 from Norwich Swan we have Mwaba Makwasa, the 18-year-old. And then in lane 5, the 16-year-old from Flitwick, we have Abigail Wickens. Our swimmers here are competing for a medal in the multi-classification. They won't have a final. The rest of the heats will, but in this opening one, they'll be competing for that fastest time to try and claim that gold, silver, and bronze. Well, 50 metres to go in this opening heat, and Mwaba Makwasa in lane 4 currently has a time of 2:47.01, a couple of seconds faster than lane 5's Abigail Wickens. Both of those are actually competing in the same classification with an SM8, so it is actually all up for grabs, and it is rather close going into the final 20 metres. And she's done a wonderful job there as Abigail Wickens make up that time into the final 20 metres or so. She was nearly 3 seconds behind going into the final 50, but she's turning around and gets a time of 3:33.5 to claim that fastest time in Heat 1. And Boasso gets a time of 3:35.99. And next across the line, Ida Corcoran with a time of 3:54.21. Heat number 2. Well, in lane 1 of Heat 2, then we have Lily Herring, also part of the multi-classification, so she would have been competing with our earlier swimmers in Heat 1. Bobby McGill in lane 2, followed by Millie Harris lane 3, Bethany Crawley lane 4, Ellie Smith lane 5, Summer Boswell lane 6, and in lane 7, Amelia Porzio. Well, Ellie Smith in a nice 5-second lead at the moment, just over Bethany Crawley in lane 4. And so that advantage remains with 30 metres to go. And as we reach the timing line in lane 5, it will be Ellie Smith with a time of 2:34.96, just below that 2:35 threshold to get herself the fastest time in Heat 2. Heat number 3. Well, off and underway in Heat 3. Then we have 7 of these overall in the women's 200-metre individual medley, all competing for a place in this afternoon's finals that will finish off, of course, this weekend of swimming. Well, in lane 1 we have Shard Mohammed, 16-year-old, followed by Georgina Hamilton, Isla Hamilton, Lisa Laneman, Veronica Mikolajewska, Amelia Saunders, Sadie Hunter, and Elizabeth Wright. Majority of these will be hoping to get themselves into those finals. Like I've said, we've got a mix of 15 and 16-year-olds. So, for example, Isla Hamilton would not be competing in the same final as Elizabeth Wright. And as we enter the next 100-metre phase, it is out in lane 7, Sadie Hunter with a slender 0.9 second advantage. Well, into the final 25 metres we go then. Pretty close here between Laneman and Mikola Juska. They are competing for different finals, but for the heat itself, it is rather exciting to see. So early on in our morning session, and right down to the millimetre this will go. And just about with a time of 2:33.99, Lisa Laneman takes it. Win lane 4. Heat number 4. Off and underway in Heat 4 after that very slight delay at the start. Lexi Goodman in lane 1, followed by Kate Hobbit, Evangeline Pierce, Holly Hawkins, Charlotte Sanford, Lila Howard, Amy Boreham and Ellen Eccleston. There is only 1/100th of a second difference at the moment between Hawkins and Sanford, both of those competing for a place in the 16 years final, so that is one to keep an eye on in Heat 4. Well, the passover at 100 metres. It is Evangeline Pierce now in the lead. 1:11.53 after 100 metres. Oh, Kate Hopper was then in the lead from lane 2 going into the final 50 metres. So we've had 3 different people leading on 3 separate occasions at those turnover points. And going into the final 25 metres now on this near side, it is lane 7's Amy Boreham that looks to be in front. But then just pushing ahead in lane 4 is Holly Hawkins. But it will be lane 7. Amy Borum, 2:34.34, who gets that fastest time in a rather exciting fourth heat. Heat number 5. Well, in heat 5 then, we have ourselves with Kirsty Neal in lane 1, followed by Millie Fields, Molly Monk, Matilda Ransom, Charlotte White, Hannah Willis, Olivia Manette, and Sarah O'Brien. Ages between 15 and 27 in this one. And it is Hannah Willis in front at the moment, the 18-year-old from the city of Peterborough. Well, Matilda Ransom at 4 seconds ahead at the 1:50 mark. And into the final 25 she now goes. And still in a sizable lead and a comfortable lead. A 17-year-old from the city of Cambridge came in with a 2:19.7. Slightly above that here, but in lane 4 with us on a 2:24.83. Ransom gets that time. Heat number 6. Well, in Heat 6 then we have Isabella Porzio, Katie Andrews, Angelhard Evans, Matilda Bogle, Grace Greenhalgh, Sky Carter, Isabel Cameron and Lily Davis. Well, final 50 metres then, Matilda Bogle out in front. Angelard Evans did not start, so we have no lane 3, so we'll focus on lane 4's Bogle. 17-year-old from Team Ipswich came in with a 2:18.49. And she'll just narrowly go above that here with a time of 2:22.39 in lane 4. Heat number 7. Well, in this final heat then of the women's 200-metre individual medleys, we have Gracie Parker in lane 1, lane 2 Charlotte Williams, lane 3 Neve James, lane 4 Ruby Wheeler, lane 5 Kate Cotter, lane 6 Beth Young, lane 7 Lexi O'Connor, and lane 8 Jessica Medlicott. Well, that 100-metre mark, Kate Cotter has a slender advantage over Ruby Wheeler. The two not competing in the same categories, the 16, 17-year-olds, but all the same, they are battling away in the pool at the moment. And in lane 4, Ruby Wheeler now does take that advantage into the final stretch, the freestyle, of course, in this individual medley. She was around 1.5 seconds in front of Kate Cotter going into the final 50. And as we approach that final timing board, out in lane 4, Ruby Wheeler, 2:25.02. Fastest time for Basildon Phoenix's Wheeler. This is the men's 200-metre individual medley, heat number 1. Well, in this opening heat, then we have Ben Every, the 15-year-old, and the rest of them are all 15 as well, with Oliver Baskerville, Ethan Thompson, and Harry Arnold Pepper. Well, final 25 metres of this opening heat. We have 7 of these as well overall to go through. It's the exact same event as the previous one, just with the men's instead of the women's. And out in lane 4, Oliver Baskerville, 2:27.78. Gets that fastest time at the end of heat 1. Heat number 2. I do have some confirmed finalists in the women's 200 IM. So the following names have made it through to the final: Olivia Minette, Gracie Parker, Veronica Michelozewska, Ellie Smith, Amelia Saunders, Amelia Porzio, Arla Hamilton, Sadie Hunter with your reserves, Poppy McGill and Bethany Crawley. In the 16 years age group, Kate Cotter, Sky Carter, Grace Greenhalgh, Lexi O'Connor, Lily Davis, Jessica Medlicott, Lisa Daineman and Holly Hawkins with your reserves, Isabel Cameron and Ellen Eccleston. And in the 17 years category, Matilda Bogle, Matilda Ransom, Ruby Wheeler, Katie Andrews, Neve James, Charlotte Williams, Beth Young and Charlotte White with your reserves, Isabella Porzio and Molly Monk. And your medal winners in the multi-classification for the women's 200 IM, Abigail Wickens with the gold, and Wava Makwasa with the silver, and Lily Herring with the bronze. Those medal winners can go down to the poolside to see Helen Stevens and collect your medals. Well, after 100 metres, we have Naeem Harvey, Ronnie Edwards, Evan McQuaid, Robert Fenner, Jack Swindale, Reese Burns, Daniel Williams and Saxon Minto all taking part. Everyone in the pool currently at the age of 15, so all competing for the same final. And it's neck and neck between Fenner and Swindale. Well, Saxon Minto just ahead now in lane 8, charging down. Right in front of us here for Chelmsford. Neck and neck between themselves and Robert Fenner. Basildon versus Chelmsford here. We saw this exact race in the relays. We're seeing it right now. And then it goes right down to Hawaii between 4 and 5. And it is lane 5's Jack Swindale who actually gets it in the end with a time of 2:23.61. Heat number 3. While in this third heat, we have Charlie McKinnon, Kaylin Bossianu, George Prince, Ben Buckley, Lewis Andrews, Ross DeVilt, Kean Lee, and Daniel Thompson. Final few meters then of this third heat of 7. And out in lane 4, that is Buckley, who will get to that timing line with a time of 2:19.76, improving his previous time by about 0.2 of a second. Heat number 4. Well, in Heat 4 then, we have Benjamin Taggart, Ben Howlett, Rafferty May, Rufus Bennett, Riley Hall, Samuel Jeffrey, Lucas Hartley, and Finlay Neve. Ages between 15 and 16 in this one. With just over 50 metres to go, with Riley Hall currently in the lead by about 0.6 of a second. Right down to the end, then we go here, a couple of meters. And out in lane 5, Riley Hall 2:21.3 with the fastest time at the end of Heat 4. Heat number 5. in Heat 5 then, we have Ollie O'Connor, Zach Truman, Freddie Laws, Matthew Baker, Nikita Charikin, Patrick Robinson, Samuel Winslow and Orlando Deering. And it is Matthew Baker, the 17-year-old of West Surrey, who's just out in front with about 75 metres to go. Well, final few metres to go to Matthew Baker, still in that comfortable lead. In lane 4, and he does with a time of 2:10.41. Really comfortable in the end, about 3.5 seconds advantage at the end of Heat 5. Heat number 6. Well, at that 100-metre mark, it is neck and neck between Daniel McGuinness and Samuel Peck. And the rest of the field, we have Daniel Hollis, Joshua Sacre, Samuel Peck once again, Olivier Verdelaine, Kai Adams, Daniel McGuinness, Yargo Darrington and Oscar Winterburn. Right at the end then of this heat, Olivier Verdelaine, 2:12.84 is the time. Heat number 7. Well, in Heat 7, we have Louis James, Jason Ho, Tyler Toombs, Nathan Wells, Miles Turner, Edward Ormsby, Darryl Rands, and Oliver Blight. And Miles Turner has the lead by about 1 second going into the final 50. But coming up on his left now is Nathan Wells, the 25-year-old. Both of these competing for the same final later on today. And right down to the wire it goes, but Nathan Wells with a time of 2:12.59 wraps up heat number 7. This is the women's 100-meter backstroke, heat number 1. Well, just as this gets underway, I would just like to announce that all the medals today are being presented by the new East Region President, Darren Peck. So when you do go down to collect those medals, you'll be greeted by, once again, our new East Region President, Darren Peck. Well, into the final 50 metres, we're already progressing here. And out in lane 4, that is Tiger Lily Donald, the 15-year-old. Gets across the line with a time of 1:12.94. And as our last few swimmers have come across the line, let's just give them all a bit more encouragement if possible this morning. Well, many thanks for that as we move on to Heat 2.
Coach or team manager from Norwich Swan, please. Coach or team manager from Norwich Swan.
Heat number 2.
Coach or team manager from Watford, please. Coach or team manager from Watford.
All of and underway in Heat 2. Darcy Gladwell, Bethany Hamer, Esme Springham, Isabella Dalton, Phoebe Matthews, Olivia Mendham, Summer Oswald and Veronica Mikhailajuska all competing here. 15, 16, 17 and 18-year-olds all competing in this 100 back. This being our last event of this morning session. And out towards the timing line, just about there, Olivia Mendham nicking it away from Bethany Hamer with a time of 1:11.64. Heat number 3. Well, in Heat 3, then we have Natalie Taylor, Jada Ludlow, Isabel Talbot, Genevieve White, Lucy Culver, Sophie Hollis, Anuka Zucchini, and Francesca Howell. Zucchini out in front at the moment on this near side in lane 7. That's a 17-year-old. Over on that far side, just coming up though is Taylor, but it will be actually lane 8 to take it. Francesca Howell with a 1:09.41. Heat number 4. Well, as we get off and underway in this, I do have some finalists to announce in the 200 IM for the men's. Oscar Winterburn, Joshua Sakari, George Prince, Rufus Bennett, Ollie O'Connor, Jack Swindale, Robert Fenner, Rafty May, with your 2 reserves, Saxon Minton, Orlando Deering for the 15 years. For the 16, Pat Robinson, Ben Buckley, Zach Troman, Riley Hall, Samuel Winslow, Lucas Hartley, Samuel Jeffrey and Ben Howlett. With your reserves, Lewis Andrews and Benjamin Taggart. And in the 17 years category, we have Matthew Baker, Nathan Wells, Miles Turner, Olivier Vedren, Freddie Laws, Nicky Tcharikin, Samuel Peck, Tyler Toombs. With your reserves, Kai Adams and Jason Ho. And a medal winner in the multi-classification, Harry Arnold Pepper. If you would like to withdraw to avoid a penalty, you need to do that within the next 9 minutes, please. Heat number 5. In Heat 5 then, we have Ardelia Rodonte, Olivia Minette, Daniel Ralton, Camille Vania, Adele Zokalushki, Emily Pitcher, Sophia Pickering, and Lucy Young. Quite close as we enter the final quarter of this 100 metres, so the final 25 metres. Lane 1 doing it ever so well, but it could go back into the centre. Just about. Emily Pitcher, 109.98. 7/100ths of a second ahead of Ardelia Rodonte in lane 1. Heat number 6. Final stretch of heat 6 then, and out in lane 4, that will be Neve James, 106.18. Across the line first. Heat number 7. So in heat 7 then we have Jessica Jane Applegate in lane 1, Eloise Cole, followed by Megan Pye, Matilda Bogle, Hannah Willis, Vanessa Seaman-Over, Grace Greenhoff and Sophie Green. Ages between 15 and 27 in this heat. This is the penultimate one with one more to go of session 15. Final stretch of this penultimate heat then. And if you're watching on the live stream, this is a perfect angle just as it comes to the timing line. You get to see it all. And you get to see that very close battle there between Pye and Bogle. But it is Megan Pye, 106.48. Lane 3, who comes out on top with one heat to go. Heat number 8. Well, off and underway then in our final heat. We have Georgina Monday of City of Norwich, Erin Curry of Hatfield, Evangeline Pearce of Basildon Phoenix, Charlie Joyce of Epping, Megan Donovan of Peterborough, Ella Coombs of Basildon, Abigail Crawley of Team Ipswich, and Ellie King of Dunstable. As we enter the final threshold of Heat 8 of session 15. In the women's 100-metre backstroke, this has been a very comfortable performance by Charlie Joyce, the 18-year-old of Epping. She had comfortably the fastest time coming into this, just above 60 seconds with a 101.5. She'll get above that here, but still the fastest time with a 104.76 for lane 4's Charlie Joyce.
Okay, the pool is now closed. There will be a warm-up at 10 o'clock. The 10 o'clock warm-up is two 20-minute warm-ups with men to warm up first. However, in order to balance out the number of swimmers in the pool, men in the 17 and over 50-metre breaststroke may elect to swim in the women's warm-up. The pool is now closed. There should be no athletes in the pool.